Hi, everyone. Today is July the 18th, 2019, and Michael and I are here today, and we are going to start giving you some YouTube videos on the different self-discovery tools that we do have, because that was a big part of Game Changer, was doing some work on self-discovery and reflection. So today what we're going to do is we're going to share some of the tools that we have, and Michael will tell you a little bit about it, his process. But today it's going to be about your personal destiny report. Now this is great because it can be used for you personally from the day of your birthday and what it gives you for the full year, or it can be a great birthday present for someone you care or love about. And for me, it has been a real tool, for the simple reason that I've done astrology for like over 40 years, and this has a real basis in astrology. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Michael, and then at the end, I have a little bit to share. Okay, Michael, do you want to share it? I think you want to share my personal report so they can see what it is and you can talk about it.
Yeah, and just
yeah.
A quick question back to you, because I know you have access to so many different self-help, personal awareness, throughout your spirituality, through all these years. When you were introduced to this destiny report, and I know you've said to me a number of times how well it fits in with, working with the shadow and so on. And so I think you're kind of an expert in what would help a person, right? In their personal view. Why do you think this is such a good thing?
Well, it's interesting because I should have mentioned that, Michael, and it's great that you did. I've done a tremendous amount of research and searching on a self-discovery journey. So the Myers-Briggs, which is typically a Jungian tool, is used by big business, and it is even used because I went for a year for becoming a principal as an educator when I was educating, hey. And it was funny because they look at all aspects, and Carl Jung himself, the great father of psychology, actually used astrology. So when I seen this tool, and I've been involved in lots of different assessment tools, we call them, okay, it immediately struck me that it is so on target, number one, and number two, it gives you a real condensed basis for what you can see about yourself, like with the card. With mine, you can tell them, and then my planetary card. But then it also allows me to look for the year at the 52-day cycles where each of the different. So I feel it's an incredible tool, especially for people just starting out, or even for me. I recommend, when I do the astrology charts, I recommend that also. And it's a great thing to print off and give as a gift, or have it on your computer and you can refer to it all the time. And I know that you did so much due diligence when we did find this report, and I would like you to tell them about that.
Okay. So I didn't have Sandra's extensive experience over a lifetime, in the area that she's so strong at. But I came across this destiny report almost by accident at a spiritual fair in Penticton. And there was an older gentleman there that was selling a destiny report. And so I looked at it, I questioned, and it was like, okay, what's this about? So, well, this will give you a heads up into what's happening into your upcoming year from birth date to birth date. And then a little bit about yourself, like who you are. So it was very interesting to me, because I think everyone wants to know a little bit more about themselves, and there's a certain validation in there when it starts to make sense. You go, oh yeah, okay. So anyways, I bought this program, and it was really limited, right? And it was fast, and I started to read it. Okay, that was the key. I read through the report, and something inside just went, okay, this is pretty cool. I want to know more. So I wound up going through the, this is what I wound up with, okay? about, I don't know, thousands of pages of information that went into the report, all right? Now, I did a little research and I found out that this is based on astrology, and it's based on the math that runs the universe, okay? Because it's uncanny how accurate it seems to be over the course of a year. You find yourself in certain placings, and I'll go over them with you shortly, and you go, oh, really? How could it have known that? You know, it's amazing to me. So I couldn't let it go, right? So I wound up buying an advanced computer version that condenses all this information into numerous reports that we have at our fingertips now. So I'm going to bring you Sandra's Destiny report, just one of, like I say, numerous amount of reports that are available to us. But we'll look at what I looked at when I got mine, all right? So I bought it from the gentleman, and he sent it to me by email, and I had a really, you know, like I said, I spent a lot of time looking at this thing. So you can see this is from Sandra's birth date, which would be first month, 6th day, 2020. Okay, so this will be her upcoming birth date, and then for the full year. All right. So what winds up happening, there's a bunch of information here. It's like an instruction manual. So it's really informative, and it gives you a basic understanding of what it is you're about to read. So I would highly recommend you understand this, because it's sort of the foundation. All right. So it goes through, excuse me, even has the ability to find out about certain people in your life, how they're going to fit into your life in the upcoming years. Gives you a little exercise here how to do that. And in the interest of time, I won't go into a great amount of detail, because it does take some time to go through this. This is your birth card lookup chart, which means all you do is, if you were born on the first day of the first month, you would be a King of Spades birth card, and so on, right? It takes you all the way through to the 12th month, December the 30th. If you happen to be born on the 31st of December, you're a joker, all right? That's over here. And jokers are a little different. But the other cards, all these other cards have a definite meaning. And let's say you're born a King of Clubs. Okay, that King of Clubs applies to you. And when you start to read the information contained in a King of Clubs, you start going, oh my gosh, how does it know that about me, right? So it's really personal, okay? So as we go through this, then it describes the planetary periods, the year-long influence cards, and then it talks to you here about what, again, I highly recommend you read this, all right? So you'll get a much clearer understanding, and it'll be much more meaningful. All right, so now we go into Sandra's, the day she was born, okay? Now, if we look at this 8 of Spades, and you know she was born on January the 6th. So if I briefly run back to here, we'll go down to January the 6th. You see there? First month, 6th day, 8 of Spades, all right? So that's Sandra's birth date. That's her personal card. Now, that card here gives a detailed description of who and what she's all about. And once you understand that about a person, it's a great insight into yourself or someone else, right? You kind of know how to deal with them a little bit, because it's really accurate. The second indicator, significant card, is a planetary ruling card. And most of us, except Leos, oddly enough, wind up just having a double birth card. So it's like being a number 8 on steroids. If that was your birth card, you would be that twice. So you're really that card. Okay, but Sandra's has a planetary ruling card, so how the planets were lined up when she was born, of a 3 of Clubs. Again, that's a completely different meaning than a 8 of Spades. But when you start to read one and then read the other, you start to get a combination, and you start going, okay, the number 8 was, was pretty close, but it was missing some stuff. Well, the number 3 fills that in pretty good for you. So you start getting a well-rounded version of who you are. And there are times in your life, okay, because you're going to be acting, Sandra will be acting more like an 8 of Spades, which is a very powerful card. Spades are the wise old souls of the deck, okay? The deck is, like, these are based on the 52 cards in the deck plus the joker. All right, now any spade suit, anyone born in the spades are wise old souls, and they're here to teach us something, which is pretty obvious about Sandra. She's a wise soul, and she's here to teach us, to share her wisdom. The three of clubs, on the other hand, is a very creative card. Okay, now aces are the hearts. They're about people. Anyone born in an ace suit is about people. Now, it's different ways of interacting with people depending on your card. Clubs are about knowledge, okay? And she's a three of clubs. So she's very creative in knowledgeable ways, continually learning and expanding and using her creativity. Diamonds are about value, okay? Anybody born in a diamond suit is about value. What we value as a society. Spades, again, are about wisdom, about sharing. You know, they really are back here to help teach the rest of us. All right, so you may find yourself, Sandra may at some point in her year be really working powerful on the 8 of spades part of her personality. But that may change, right? Over the course of that year, she may shift into the more creative side, or she may combine both. So that's why you get a report on your birth card, you get a report on your planetary ruling card, and both of those will be applicable to you, some more so than others at different stages in your year, depending on where you're at, but all valuable information, okay? It just makes sense. It's just, to me, it's, you know, once I realized, and I've been doing it now for, probably been with these cards for 5 years, and I've been able to look back in times in my life before I knew about these cards and significant situations in my life, and I could have pinpointed them. I could have said, oh, okay, in Jupiter that year, look at that, and that's where I was. Look at the card that's indicating what it is that would have happened. So it's very accurate, so that's why I couldn't let it go. And it's the one way in my life I seem to be able to get a look ahead of what might be happening, okay, and sort of prepare for that. A good time to travel, maybe not. A good time to invest, okay, maybe not, depending, right? Good time for romance, whatever's going on. It's awesome. So at any rate, I'm going to carry on. What happens here is, there again, it's a little bit more information about her birth card, so you get detailed information about yourself. Now, this is her year-long 8 of spades, okay? So we're in the 8 of spades destiny report, all right? So you'll notice that there are 5 cards here that start, these are year-long cards. They're found in her birth spread, so they have an influence for throughout the whole year, all right? You see a long range, a Pluto, and a result. This will be indicating of what you might expect throughout the year, how you're going to be feeling, how you're going to be acting. You're really feeling a Queen of Diamonds influence, and it will talk to you clearly about what a Queen of Diamonds means. The Pluto card is generally the challenge that you're going to face over the course of the year, and then the result card is if you can overcome the challenge of the Pluto and combine it with the result, awesome, right? That gives you the heads up of where you need to spend some extra effort. All right, environment and displacement cards, they're a part of what's going on here. All right, I won't go into those in detail, but again, they're clearly indicated here if you read the instructions. Answers a lot of your questions. So now we go through the long range more in detail. I'm going to tell her what the Queen of Diamond represents and what to be aware of, what she can expect. Then through the Pluto, through the result card, detailed information again about the environment card and the displacement card. All right. You know, and you can get a hold of us if you need clearer information regarding any of these, you know, wherever you happen to get stuck. So now we move through to, and this is where it gets really cool. So you've had the overall flavor of your year, you've seen that clearly, and now you're going to move into 7 different planetary periods over the course of your year. Each period is 52 days starting from your birth date. So when Sandra's birth date arrives, she will enter automatically into a Mercury period. Now, it'll explain to you what the Mercury period means because it's very different. The influence of Mercury, and Sandra's an expert in the astrology part, she understands this well, is very different from the influence of Venus, which after the initial 52-day period, she would enter into her Venus period. And you can see clearly, it tells you when it starts and when it ends and when you move, okay? And when it ends. And then you would go throughout the course of your year through Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and finally with Neptune, which would bring you back to her birth date again. And every year, the interesting thing about this is every year, this changes to fit your coming year. It's never the same way twice. Like, it's just really, really cool how it flows. And so what you experienced this year, if I brought up her chart for the following year after this birth date, it would be entirely different, right? And so these cards have values, all right? They have clear values. And when you start to understand the value of the card and how it applies to your life, you can take full advantage of this. Or avoid whatever it is that you might not want to be, right? But it gives you the heads up. So now it talks to her about the Mercury period, and then it will talk about the two cards that were involved, okay, in that Mercury period. If we slide back, you can see her direct card and her vertical card. Here they are. Okay, now another interesting thing is, and I'll just throw this at you, is oftentimes the direct card is sort of the heads up to what's really happening or going to happen. Oftentimes, this vertical card, once you understand your birth date of your friends or family, and let's just say in Sandra's case, her granddaughter birth card is a 10 of hearts, all right? By birth, she's a Leo in a 10 of hearts, so she's a 10 of hearts on basically on steroids. The King of Hearts is all about family. It's the boss family card, right? Of the whole heart suit, okay? It's the father card. Now, to me, this would make sense that Sandra is going to be acting in a position of family, importance, family, and it looks like her granddaughter is going to be involved in that period in some meaningful way. It's really cool how you can apply this. Now, this gives her a heads up to be able to be aware of that, right? All right, so anyways, we go through her Mercury period and all the way through, okay? It will tell us about what Venus means. And again, you might be a person who, you know, Three of Spades, and maybe you're looking for a relationship and that Three of Spades pops into your life. This happens, right? And it may not be. It may be just the Three of Spades is an influence to you, right? But you get a heads up. It's pretty cool. So we'll take it right the way through the Mars, all the way down, right? So it's complete destiny report, birth date to birth date. And it breaks it down into segments. So you're really, once you understand it the first year, then after that, it just makes, it's an automatic. For the few dollars it costs to get that kind of information into your life on a yearly basis, I've never found anything like it, Sandra. And so I'm going to pass it back to you, and maybe if I've missed anything, you can ask me. Oh, sorry, I did miss one thing. This is the last thing, Sandra. Now you'll see her second card, her planetary ruling card, was the Three of Clubs, right? Now there's a whole another destiny report for the year long, the same thing we just went through for the Three of Clubs. So where you might find, like I said before, the Eight of Spades come up a little short somewhere there, it could be that she's acting more in the Three of Clubs capacity that particular part of the year. So you combine these reports and you have a complete picture of what's happening in your life. Okay, it's take it away time, Sandra.
Perfect. Okay, well, first of all, Michael, thank you. And I think that was a great description. And again, I watched Michael over the years do his due diligence to ensure that it was a profile with integrity, okay? The most important thing I think that I found from it, I used it with astrology, okay? And the next thing is I've already sat down and I've done my planning for 2020. from a business and a personal point of view. So I have a calendar and I take this and I look at it. I do know that when, like, say, the 10 of Hearts comes, that's a time for me to go out and work with people. If it's a spade time, it's something I need to do with planning. So I've already put up how I'm restructuring for 2020 and what's happening. So this is a great tool to understand more about yourself, how to plan ahead personally and business-wise. It's also an incredible gift. So this can be printed off. You can put it in a beautiful folder and you can wrap it and give it to somebody, or you can send that in an email to them as a birthday gift with one of those fancy little birthday cards that sing. Okay, so there's many options. This is one of 5 reports that are available, okay? And so we will describe each one in a video so you have clarity on it. The next thing is there's going to be an option. This is more Michael's, I mean, I really like it and I look at it all the time and I review it. But we spoke about you can purchase the report for $65. You get a hold of me and I get to him and it comes in your email, number 1. Number 2, there will be an option that if you would like to, once you've read it and you have questions, you can contact me. I will put you in touch with Michael and you guys can do a Zoom, and that Zoom would be a $50 fee for 30 minutes. Now, I think that's a great deal. How many people spend how much money on gifts that people don't even want? That's just it. I mean, everybody is sick of it. They got too much stuff. What we're looking for is more spiritual confirmation of what we're doing as this world is going through a purging and a chaos. And so you'll find meaning when you go within. And I just found something. So in the spiritual world, we say your body is compared to your vehicle. And you know how you need to maintain the vehicle with gas, check the oil, service it regularly, see what your tires are like. And the tires, they have to have good tread to ensure it runs regularly, and have your spark plugs and all that stuff done. I have a whole thing on that. I'll do a video. So I highly recommend that you do this special reading and session either for you or your loved one, the gift, because is you're really now maintaining. And every birthday, I say, yes, January 1st is important. That gives us our universal year. Numerology, but we all have a personal year. Okay, this combined with some numerology and maybe a chart. Start with this though. This is where your birthday is for that year. That's your special year. And so I think that's about it, Michael. And if any.
Well, there's something, you know, I just want to just add up here before we close a couple of things and finish with a little bit of humor there. Okay. Because I know since I've known Sandra and the value she places on this report, and especially the year-long influences, are extremely important to her. And she finds herself in the situation. You had an Ace of Hearts year-long influence a year ago, and that was about self, right? Coming home to self. And I mean, that's what you did that year. You place a lot of value in this. And okay, so the second thing is the insight. Let's say you want to give this to a friend, right? Or son or a daughter or a granddaughter or whatever. And if comes by email, so you get a chance to read it. It's nothing, I don't believe it's anything too private or anything. People are willing to share this. But you get a little insight into that particular person you may not have known. You understand why they're acting a certain way and so on. It's pretty cool to know. And the last thing here that I just noticed is this is Sandra's Three of Clubs year-long influences. Okay, so I was just going through them as I was giving my description. Well, and I talked to you about the Plutos being the challenge card. So, oddly enough, my birth card is a Jack of Hearts, and apparently I'm going to be Sandra's challenge the next year. So,
You think that's funny, Michael? That's a Pluto card, and I'm all about Pluto and Uranus, and oh my God, yeah. So that's pretty cool.
yeah.
So thank you so much. And as I say, you can please subscribe to the YouTube channel, number one. Number two, if you want to put a comment in or you want to get a hold of me, it's alexcae.moren@gmail.com. And I hope that you've really enjoyed this, because basically self-discovery, going inside, is what the soul evolution needs to do. And when you do that, you will find that your external world starts to fall into place. It's like a puzzle, and your life starts to flow, because now you start working with spirit as opposed to ego. Thank you so much.
Yes, namaste.
Namaste.